signifies faith, hope and charity. The cross, anchor and heart also symbolising faith, hope and charity. A 5-pointed star for the 5 points of fellowship. The coffin, the all-seeing eye, the sun, moon and stars. A 7-step ladder favoured by the royal black.
We're still on district number 9. Sometimes a little bit hard to differentiate here, but it's a very long parade, and it is at least 6 miles from Clifton Street, from Carlisle Circus through to the field at Barnes Domain, mostly on the level. There are 1 or 2 gentle hills, I suspect. I imagine those hills seem a bit heavier going to the older members of the lodges. Some more of the banners. The immaculate uniforms of the bandsmen too.
And you see the popularity of the flute. That used to be known as the German flute, blown into sideways, but in a smaller version known as the fife, this would have been used by the militia and the yeomanry, and the members of the Orange Order would have been very familiar with that.
I wonder just how many people taking part in the parade will have been doing a little bit of training, as you do for a marathon, because it's a very long walk, and then the return journey, of course, this afternoon.
I would say it's pretty exhausting, but it's amazing that vast majority actually managed to do it, and probably without any training at all. It's their enthusiasm, their determination, which keeps them marching and parading in this procession. I wonder sometimes, do they know what they are commemorating? And you have the popular song, The Sash, where they celebrate Derry, Aughrim, Enniskillen and the Boyne, but that's chronologically not quite right.
What is the correct order then?
The correct order is Derry, which began in December of 1688 and was over on the 28th of July 1689, followed by Enniskillen on the 31st of July 1689, followed by the Battle of the Boyne on the 1st of July 1690, not the 12th as most people think. And the most important battle, the decisive victory for King William's army, took place on the plains of East Galway at Aughrim, where 7,000 Irishmen died in an afternoon, the bloodiest battle in Irish history.
You mentioned the 12th of July because there was a change in the calendar at one point, wasn't there?
Yes, in the middle of the 18th century, it led to they changed the calendar to coincide with the calendar as used on the European mainland, and this led to the loss of 11 days, which in fact there were some protests in England. Give us back our 11 days, and this may help to explain why people think of the Battle of the Boyne as being on the 12th of July. I see it as a kind of coalesced celebration of all of those victories. In a war when Ireland was briefly the cockpit of Europe, deciding whether Louis XIV and his allies were going to be able to conquer the Netherlands and elsewhere. And in fact, an interesting point is that King William had not only the Catholic Emperor of Austria on his side, but also the Pope, and a Te Deum was sung in Vienna, a Catholic Te Deum obviously, to celebrate the victory of the Battle of the Boyne.
Lower Woodstock there with its strong Scottish links acknowledged on the big drum, the bass drum. And again the military style uniforms.
And of course the great influx of Scots occurred not in the early 17th century, as most people think, except for North Down and South Antrim. The great influx occurred in the 1690s, when there was a terrible famine in Scotland, and tens of thousands of Scots came over the North Channel to make a new life in Ulster.
And we're now into district number 10, Ballinafie, which I think I mentioned earlier, but the 7 lodges of Ballinafie, district number 10. Oh, it's a tiring occasion for some, isn't it? Well, I tell you, there's plenty of music to wake up babies on a day like this. Military precision there in the marching.
Yes, they're very neat. They have practiced very hard.
This is the view along the Dublin Road towards Shaftesbury Square. They've still got over half the distance to go, these people. Lovely corps of drummers. And again, it's very interesting that it looked at 8 or 9 o'clock this morning as if it was going to be a very wet morning. And so far so good. It's actually quite bright now and very dry.
And we've just seen a banner showing Dan Winter's cottage that we were hearing about earlier.
Now, the BBC has been covering the 12th on television for over 50 years, but here's a rare opportunity to look at some archive of the parade filmed before the BBC was around. This is the first 12th of July parade held in Belfast after partition, and this is 1922. And this is this amazing 50,000 Orangemen taking part in 1922. Now, black and white images here, but look at the horses and carriages, which you don't see today.
And the immense accompanying crowd.
That was taken in Castle Junction, looking up Royal Avenue, and there is Donegal's place.
The reason why you have armoured cars was that Belfast had just gone through just about the bloodiest period in its recent history between 1920 and the middle of 1922.
Look at the flat caps and everybody wearing hats.
And the big
quite interesting
drums.
And this is the first Prime Minister, Craig, addressing the demonstration in 1922. I think he must be the only person without a hat.
Yes, Craig, who was to become Lord Craigavon in 1927, he played a major role in reviving the Orange Order and bringing the respectable classes, the middle classes, the wealthy, the aristocracy back into the movement. And when that march took place, yes, 40,000.
And can I tell you incidentally that this is now 1923, a year later, again in Donegal Place, looking down from the City Hall, and look at what people are wearing, all with hats, very smartly dressed, Sunday best, and in fact some of the ladies wearing stoles even in July.
We don't see Union Jack dresses or parasols, but we do see Lambeg drums.
Yeah. Now that was very interesting because 1922, 1923, the BBC didn't come along until the 15th of September in 1924, when the first BBC station 2BE opened up on radio only, of course. And there we are, things have changed now. Coloured pictures here of the parade in Bedford Street. And now back again to Helen Mark.
It's wonderful to see that footage, isn't it, Walter? And I just love they're all so smartly turned out, the women especially with the hats, and they even had like stoles on. Nobody's wearing anything like that today, but let's not worry about it. Let me introduce you instead to Pete and Sally. They are from
Melbourne, Australia.
And what brings you here, Pete?
Well, I'm part of a State of Victoria's over 60s cricket team. We're touring Ireland, Scotland and Iceland.
You're on tour.
Yes, that's correct.
And how's the tour going?
Wonderful. We've won 5 matches out of 5 so far, so it's going very well.
Gosh, we're not putting up much competition, are we?
Plenty of competition, yeah.
So you're having a good time?
Wonderful. The Irish people have been absolutely fantastic to us.
Of course, all
wonderful.
of us are. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Now, what about being here for the parade today, Sally?
It's very emotional. I can't believe the people that are involved. It's obviously lots and lots of work to put it together, and it's just one of the many memories we'll have of our Irish holiday, and it's just superb. Love the little children's involvement.
Do you recognise the music and
Oh yes, yeah. One of the songs they played is the theme song of my favourite football team at home, so it's lovely to see that.
What one was that?
I can't remember its name, but it's Good Old Collingwood Forever.
Oh yeah, you can't hum it for me, can you?
Good old Collingwood forever. We know how to play the game, etc., etc. So it's wonderful. But the passion, especially those bass drummers, is amazing. Their fitness and the force they put into it. It's just the colour. The banners are wonderful, and it's just wonderful to see everybody involved.
I know, Pete, that a chap called Martin Clark, he plays for Collingwood.
Marty Clark plays for
from
Collingwood.
Northern Ireland.
He's one of my favourite players. Yes, he comes from Northern Ireland. Where's number 9? Yes, I know Marty Clark very well.
Well, there you
He's
go.
wonderful. He's fitted in marvellously. Everybody loves him.
Do you know that people are watching this on the web across the world? So your family back there and that fine footballer of ours.
Hopefully that's right. But it's just a magnificent day. The number of marches is mind-boggling to us. Nothing like this in Australia at all. And the colour, I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing day.
So you're going to just have a nice time for the rest of the day, and it's lovely to meet you both. Thanks very much for stopping by.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Walter.
Now, July, a century ago, saw the outbreak of the First World War. From many lodges with a direct military connection, this is a very significant anniversary. Claire McCullum has been to talk to some members of 2 such lodges.
Commemorating the centenary of the outbreak of the First World War is particularly important for some lodges, like this one based in Clifton Street. Billy and Derek, your lodge, the 36th Ulster Division Memorial, was formed in the trenches, really, in the First World War. Tell us about the rich history it has.
A military lodge was actually formed in France, and this was after the Battle of the Somme. When it came back to Belfast here, they decided from the military lodge they would form a lodge of the ex-servicemen, and that was 977.
And I had a family connection to it which brought me to the lodge. My uncle Jackie, who was in the lodge and also was over the Somme, and they carried the warrant of the lodge in their knapsacks.
My grandfather was in the First World War, and my father was actually was in the Anzio beachhead, and also and other members of the wider family gave their lives.
And why do you feel it's so important to remember, Billy?
To forget or not to remember is sin. It's a sin not to, and I believe that.
1st of July was a day whenever the Ulster Division lost their most men on the Somme. From the day and hour that this lodge was formed, we have had a parade to the cenotaph, and we lay a wreath down there. So hopefully my grandsons, one of them will be carrying the wreath.
And Derek, these are very special colours. Tell us about them.
Yes, Claire, these colours were made in the Royal House of Needlework in London. And as you can see yourself, the battle honours are around the laurel wreath, and I just think it's the best.
You're very proud of it.
Yes, I am. I am.
Historian Gavin Hughes is an authority on the First World War.
Well, it's a very emotional and poignant event, Claire. It reflects to us that the gentlemen behind us are doing what their previous generations did. This is all about commemoration of losses, as the black ribbons on the colours demonstrate.
And the men who started this particular lodge, they started it in the trenches of the First World War. That's absolutely amazing.
It is. They started whilst they were training to go off to the front. And then in the trenches they continued this bond of friendship, so that when they come home in 1918 and 1919, it's natural that they have shared experiences. They join and form lodges. It's to show solidarity with those who didn't come back.
Another lodge with a direct military connection to the First World War comes from County Tyrone.
Killyman District LOL number 1 was formed over 150 years ago and currently sits in Killyman Orange Hall just outside the town of Dungannon. As we are celebrating the 12th this year within the district and hosting it in Dungannon, we have decided to commission a small booklet leading up to the war effort in 1914, compiled and written by Robert Butler, who is a brother within Collisland LOL 93. The book covers Viscount Northland, who was the commanding officer of the Ulster Volunteer Force in 1914 here in Dungannon.
We also unearthed an old banner which had depicted the Somme battle on the front and Viscount Northland's portrait on the reverse side. The district asked me to design a banneret which would be at the head of the parade in Dungannon this year, and we thought it was a fitting tribute to all those who died as Orangemen who were in local lodges here in the district.
As you can see, I'm dressed in the uniform of the Enniskillen Fusiliers. The Tyrone Somme Memorial Association, our badge is actually dedicated to the 9th Battalion, which we're known as the Tyrones. It's all about trying to basically educate our young people about the relationship between both communities who fought and died during the First World War.
We've got to remember that these are Irishmen and Ulstermen joining the ranks under the Union flag pre-partition, and when they come back from the war, they want their service recognised and they want to try and make meaning of it some way.
And here we are back again in the centre of Belfast. Since earlier this morning it's been a continuous moving spectacle, but not at the moment, because as happens every year the parade takes a short break, a pause, and I'm sure everybody appreciates that. After several miles coming down here to the centre of Belfast, and with quite a few miles still to go, and a lot of people, a lot of the families who have come down here to watch the parade going past, of all ages and in all multicoloured costumes, and the marchers particularly enjoying the break. And in amongst everybody there in the street is Helen Mark.
You know, Walter, you don't need to stand here for very long. You hear such a range of accents, Scottish, English, Northern Irish. And I've got here, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Matthias. I'm from Hamburg in Germany.
And how is it you're coming here to stand beside me on the roadside for this parade?
Yeah. Oh, it's the first day of our summer vacation. We yesterday started in Hamburg and flying to Dublin, and today we arrived in Belfast, and we're just going for 10 days here in Northern Ireland.
Did you come specially to see the parade?
No, it was surprisingly. So we just planned our trip a few months ago, and we just wanted to go down to the city and made a bus tour through the city, and now we saw this parade here, yes.
And what are your thoughts about it as you see it? We're on a bit of a break now.
Yes, I know that it's very impressive. Then I remembered it from the past, and the news often it was reported from this parade in Dublin, so it's surprisingly that it's today, and it's very impressive. Yeah.
It's the colour and spectacle, I think, for people who are seeing it for the first time, you know, and so many bands marching past playing music.
Yeah, it's also very loud. I mean, it's rhythm, and I knew this orange. Then I remembered the Orange Day. So yeah, it's very impressive. Yeah.
They have a long way to walk, you know. I think it's up to like almost 12 miles before they get to what they call the field.
Okay.
It's hard going, that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I think we're all hoping that the rain will stay away.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yes. Dry would be fine.
Well, listen, thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you
very
much.
Back to you, Walter.
Okay. Yeah, have a nice day.
Thank you very much indeed, Helen. And I have Dr. Jonathan Barton here still with me. I'm just thinking that we were looking back to the lodges who have strong connections with those who took part in the First World War. There are a lot of anniversaries at the moment. We've recently had the D-Day anniversary.
Yes, and there were 30,000 American troops on board really a great armada in Belfast Lough at the end of May, beginning of June of 1944. The Americans had been here since actually 1941, and at one stage there were 120,000 Americans in Northern Ireland, meaning that 1 in every 10 people in Northern Ireland was in fact American. Clearly this was an armada on its way to Normandy, but they didn't know when they were going to go. Eisenhower flew in. He landed at Greencastle beside Carlingford Lough, drove to Brownlow House in Lurgan, stayed there, and then came to Bangor driving down the main street. And as he was driving down the main street, his visitor was supposed to be secret. A woman cried out, "It's Eisenhower!" And he just waved back and smiled. And he then toured the battleships. There were 3 great battleships, the Texas, Nevada and Arkansas, and he addressed officers and men on the cruiser Tuscaloosa, and they were waiting for a weather report, believe it or not, in Donegal. And even though ERA, as it was then, was neutral, in fact the weather service there was passing on information to Churchill, passing it on to Eisenhower, and he decided to go for it on the 6th of June.
Right, now earlier today we are going to take a look at pictures recorded as the head of the parade reached us here in which is before we came on the air, and we recorded it. Let's have a look at those pictures now. At the head of the parade, the County Grand Orange Lodge of Belfast, with the colour party bearing the Rice Memorial standards. Leading the colour party, Eric Brewster, Lodge 492 from number 3 district. Following the colour party, the Miller Memorial Flute Band and the county officers. Scotland is well represented again this year. Guests joining the head of the parade include Eddie McDonnell, Deputy Grand Master, the Grand Orange Lodge of Glasgow. Eddie Hyde, Grand Secretary of the Grand Orange Lodge of Scotland, will be one of the platform speakers later. Helen McLean, past Grand Mistress, Grand Orange Lodge of Scotland, Association of Orange Women. J.G. McLean, Grand Treasurer, Grand Orange Lodge of Scotland, and the Reverend Malcolm Anderson, Scottish Grand Chaplain. District number 5's banneret has the House of Orange motto, "I will maintain," in its design. And Sandy Row, District number 5, had its first purpose-built Orange Hall in Belfast dating back to 1868. That was replaced in 1910 on the site where King William's troops reportedly camped on their way to the Boyne. And Ladies District number 1 represent an association founded in Sandy Row in 1912. Their first worshipful mistress, Annie Bridget, was the wife of the celebrated painter of orange banners. So again we're looking at the head of the parade this morning, which came past us here just about 10 minutes to 11 this morning. So presumably by now they'll be getting very close to the field at Barnes-to-Main. District 5 is one of the largest in the district, with 28 lodges in each of number 5 district and number 6 district for Balnafae. That Ballymacarrot, I think I should say, for district number 6. Now there we see amongst the parade a banner highlighting some issues in North Belfast around parading. There are obviously some strong differences of opinion, which many of you will have seen and heard on the BBC airwaves over recent days. So again, this is our view here from the junction of Olmo Avenue and Bedford Street, looking all the way down past, as we've seen earlier, the Ulster Hall on the right, the Ewart building. Famous buildings still there from the past in Belfast, historic Belfast. Again, very smart uniforms.
The two historic buildings are both linen warehouses. This was really the centre of Ulster's linen industry, where the finished cloth was sold. On one side was Bryson House, and on the other side Ewart's, and all round great linen warehouses. Even the Linen Hall Library itself, the building was originally a linen warehouse. This was the world centre of the linen industry.
Almost think that there's a spring in their step at this point early in the morning. And the interesting thing about the crowds here of spectators is the fact that they've been there since early this morning.
Yes, they certainly have. Most of them having to stand. A few people were able to get seats earlier, but they arrived very early. And of course, if little children as well, many of them amusing themselves by twirling their little poles.
And at this point, we're going to return again to Market Hill and Ralph McLean.
Thank you very much, Walter. Well, the procession continues on here in beautiful Market Hill. We were talking a little bit earlier about the community side of things, and Dave McMullen knows all about that. And a very colour-appropriate shirt today, County Armagh Community Development. What is it you guys do, Dave?
We are a community development support network which was established in 2005 to basically try and get Orange Halls opened up for community activity and to build the confidence of the Protestant community to engage in community activity. And there's a wide range of community events happening in Orange Halls across County Armagh now at the moment.
Like what? What are we talking, David? What are the halls used for?
We have dance classes, computer classes, classes and different events for young people, senior citizens clubs, wide and varied range of events.
So you've been involved in this for a few years now. How long are we talking?
Next year will be our 10th anniversary, and we're hoping to do a wide programme of events to celebrate that. One of the things which is happening shortly is we're linking in with SELB and delivering a young men's project focusing on young people.
And you've also had cross-border work as well, and putting the hand of friendship out as well to try to bring more people into the event.
We have a very good working relationship with County Monaghan Community Network, and I'm engaged in a number of cross-border study visits. We went to the Titanic Centre in Belfast, to the Guinness Brewery, Collins's Barracks and different places like that. And we're currently delivering a project funded by Monaghan County Council, which is looking at the famine, the great famine in Ulster.
So in terms of it being a big community event, you're on the ground, you feel that then? You feel that it is a growing thing?
It's every year it's getting bigger and better, and more people are participating. And indeed in County Armagh the numbers engaged in the Orange Order are increasing.
And there is a sense that families are here today. Market Hill is just full of families, lots of kids about, there's lots of events going on. This is a very much a family-friendly vibe.
It is indeed, and last night there was a very big family event in Market Hill. There was fireworks, strongman games and reenactments, and a very big family event.
Do you would encourage people to get involved and get down here and to expand that community input, because it's an important aspect, isn't it?
It is indeed, yes, and there's so much happening around the Orange Halls, and today at our stand we have linked in with the Cancer Focus, and we're engaging with men and encouraging them to take part and get their blood pressure taken, because men traditionally are very reluctant to attend the doctors.
Do you think some people perhaps don't realise that all this is going on? It's a case of getting the message out, maybe, that there are all kinds of community outreach aspects to an event like this?
We have a website, www.cacd.org.uk, also a Facebook page and a monthly news sheet, but it's an ongoing struggle to try and get the message out, yes. And there needs to be more funding for this type of work.
Okay, well, listen, we wish you all the best. You've got to go back up to the field where your stand is. David, thank you very much for joining us. And right now we'll hand you back to Belfast.
Thank you, Ralph. Now let's take another look at pictures recorded earlier of the wreath-laying ceremony at the Cenotaph in the grounds of Belfast City Hall. The parade at the moment is taking a break, but this is a very solemn moment when the parade takes another break as they come to the City Hall. The party is led by County Master George Chittick, with the Reverend William Hoey and the Reverend Malcolm Anderson, one of the visitors from Scotland. A very solemn moment here and a pause in the music and the sounds of the 12th in Belfast. The bugler at the cenotaph, George Spence. A very solemn moment and a pause, the first pause of the parade. Here we are back again live in Bedford Street, where the pause in the main parade is still continuing. And now it's back again to Helen.
Walter, I've met a lovely family who've come to watch the parade today. Now, I think you're going to have to introduce yourselves, so would you like to tell me who everyone is?
Yes, I'm Michelle from Bangor. This is my mum.
I'm Lynn from Bangor.
And this is my niece, Summer.
Hiya.
And then Zach is my son, and then the other son's Cy.
The
And
girl.
Courtney, my niece, and the other wee niece next time.
And are you having a good morning out?
Yes, we
Really?
are, yes.
Yeah?
Really good.
You're all in really good form. Now, you could be off playing football with your mates today.
Yeah, but it's good up to get up early and you come down summer's afternoon, enjoy yourself and watch the bands.
Do you like seeing the bands?
Yeah, it's really good. This is my 5th year in a row coming now. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you said to Mum this morning, come on, I want to go down and see the bands, so that's great.
It's hard waking up, but
Well, the noise will keep you awake, won't it? How are you enjoying things?
it's really good.
Yeah, what do you like about it?
I just like watching people doing all their talents and all in the jams.
Yeah. Well, listen, you're holding your little cousin, your little sister. Hello. Big smile. There's a wee smile in there. Anyway, thanks just for taking a moment or two to chat to us, and enjoy the rest of the parade. Yeah, aren't we all? All the best. Back to you, Walter.
Thank you very much, Helen. I think she enjoyed that conversation because she didn't have to talk over the sounds of the bands passing by. Very, very close there. And while things are taking a break here in Belfast still, but we'll be resuming very shortly, we can go back again to Ralph McLean in Market Hill.
Thank you, Walter. Yes, indeed, things still happening here as well. I'm joined again by Dr. Gavin Hughes. Gavin, how's the day been for you? The rain has held off at least.
It has, hasn't it, Ralph? I mean, unlike in 1879 when they said it continuously rained all day here in Market Hill. But it's been a lovely day, a marvellous pageant of colour and music. You know, absolutely wonderful.
And what have been the highlights for you? Because we have had a mix of styles here today, haven't we?
We have. I mean, we've seen lots of things like fife and drum bands. Actually, Johnson Memorial with their Lambeg drum, called the Johnson Memorial. That was a lovely band and a lovely drum with the Royal Enniskilling Fusiliers on it.
So this is a very different experience from Belfast. How would you sum up the difference in a country event like this?
I think, to be honest, it's a family event, very much a family-orientated event here. We have the pipe bands, of course, just passing us. This is Tandragee District, finishing off the parade here at Market Hill. And we've got the Lambegs behind us as well. Those are always a great feature of country, rural 12ths.
You can feel the Lambreg in your very heart, can't you? It kind of beats
feel
in
your
your
ribcage.
diaphragm. It just kind of beats through. I'm glad you've enjoyed the day, Gavin. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Rob.
For now, though, from us here in Market Hill, I hand you back to Belfast.
Ralph there, lambegs and all. Now, the headquarters of the Grand Orange Lodge of Ireland, Schomburg House in Belfast, is benefiting from over £3 million of European Peace 3 funds to develop it into an interpretive centre for Orangism. Now, midway through the construction, Ralph McLean has been along for an update.
Ralph McLean at Schomburg House, and we're going to stay with the historical theme actually, because our next guest is Ron McDowell. Ron, now you're from the Clifton Street Orange Hall, but there's an exhibition and museum there.
Yes, there is. It was something which started off as an interest and became a hobby and became a fixture after that. And we have a fixture there which tells a story really of Orangism, and particularly Orangism in Belfast.
And you started this?
Yes, it was something that we had a few artefacts that were family heirlooms, and we brought them down to a derelict space within the hall. And from then it has grown with members contributing old pieces with banners, and we tell the story of a lot of the old members that has been in the hall.
Do people come and visit it? I mean, how do we get to you?
Well, it has become a very, very popular thing. We'll be releasing our website soon, which people can contact us through that. And we bring cross-community groups in, we bring youth groups, we bring other Orange Lodges. And the response has been very, very favourable to us.
And what, people of all ages come to...
Absolutely. I mean, you get old folk in their 90s who recall older days and having a ball in it. And you get the young ones who come in and they're fixated with the banners and the colour and the pageantry. So there's something for everyone.
That's lovely. Well, thank you very much for stopping by, and you've got your family with you as well. I'll let you get back to the parade. All the very best. Back to you, Walter.
Thank you, Helen. And as you can see, the parade is continuing now. These are the last few lodges to pass us here towards the end of the main parade. Jonathan Barden still here with me. Now, we were looking at the development of Schomburg House. Might be a good point to remind us who Schomburg was.
The Duke of Schomburg led King William's troops over to Groomsport, where an Orange Lodge has a bronze memorial. And he besieged Carrickfergus Castle, a ferocious siege, and then after that joined William to fight at the Battle of the Boyne, where in fact he was killed.
And the name lives on today.
It lives on today, and in fact his son played a notable part in that battle as well.
Has anything surprised you looking at the parade? Because you've been very often away at this time of the year, I know, and so it's seeing it again this year.
I get the feeling that it's grown, it's bigger, it's more colourful. The uniforms are brighter, and I had thought that bagpipes had disappeared, but they are back again. I'd like to see some silver and some silver and brass bands, perhaps. But it's certainly a stirring sight.
And I think it's interesting to hear the reaction of foreign visitors from overseas. And there are a lot of visitors around these days, and they seem to be very impressed by the colour and the size of the spectacle.
Yes, it's the scale of it must astonish them, I would think.
Well, I'm sure they've all appreciated the break they had for, what, 15 minutes or so there. And it's back on the road again here. The young lady, member of one of the women's lodges, of which there are quite a few in the parade this year. And the thing to remember, of course, is as they pass us here with another, 4 miles or so to go to the field at Bonnetamain, the ceremonies there start at 2:15, and then at 4:15 everything goes into reverse and they go back again. Well, that's all we've time for, but you can watch this programme again on the iPlayer. BBC Newsline, Radio Ulster and our online service will keep you up to date with events throughout the day. And now it's back to you again, Helen.
And I'll be back later this evening with a special 12th programme. That's on BBC One tonight at 20 to 10. Join us if you can. But from everyone in Market Hill and from all the team here in Belfast, a very good afternoon.